What's going on, Dimers? It's Katie Welge for Pine Sports, another Daily Dimes drop. Well, folks, we're on the brink of football season, and I hope you're getting those fantasy lineups ready to go for those drafts. And to help you out, Dave Kluge from Football Guys is joining me today to give you all some excellent fantasy tips to help you excel this year and hopefully win big. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and give this some love with a thumbs up below. Speaking of fantasy, Pine and PrizePicks have partnered, and that means all Pine users who use the promo code PINE will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Get in the game today with PrizePicks times Pine, the easiest and quickest way to play daily fantasy sports. Dave, welcome to the channel. Super pumped to have you on today, looking ahead to the 2022 NFL season just around the corner. I know you are stacked with great fantasy tips, so let's get right to it. Who do you like starting with the quarterback position this year?
Well, it is really hard to bet against Josh Allen. I mean, this guy was the overall QB1 in scoring last year and the year before, and it's been over a decade since anybody has been able to repeat as back-to-back QB1. So you want to take him again this year as the QB1, and he is in my rankings as the QB1. But the issue is that now his acquisition cost is so high that you've got to pay for a third-round pick to get a guy like Josh Allen, and you're passing up on Michael Pittman, A.J. Brown, Kyle Pitts, and some really good talents at that position. So when I look overall at the quarterback landscape, I have 6 guys that I'm happy with getting, and that's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, or Jalen Hurts. I'm more prone to take whoever falls to me in that top tier and get them at the best cost possible, rather than paying up with a third-round pick to get Josh Allen, as good as he is. And then when you're looking at running backs, it seems like this year everybody is torn between Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey. And I like both of these players, but I think what it comes down to is more risk tolerance than anything else. I think that drafting Jonathan Taylor is playing not to lose the game. If you want to play to win, go out and get Christian McCaffrey. This guy has been a running back 8 or better in 93% of his games. He is phenomenal when he's on the field. Now, don't get me wrong, Jonathan Taylor is good as in his own respect, but he wouldn't have been an RB1 in almost any other season besides last year when fantasy scoring was way down. So Christian McCaffrey is the guy that is going to give you that weekly upside that will just win you leagues. As much as I like Jonathan Taylor, I am taking Christian McCaffrey as the #1 overall running back. But I also want to talk about wide receivers a little bit. And here, again, it is 2 guys that are tearing the fantasy community apart, and it's Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp. And funny enough, Cooper Kupp's offensive coordinator from last year is now the head coach for the Minnesota Vikings. So we're going to see a very similar offense, an offense that really helped Cooper Kupp get open last year. Everywhere on the field, it didn't matter what level he was on, he was able to get open because they run a very fun scheme there that focuses around one player. Well, now Justin Jefferson gets to play in that Cooper Kupp role, and he's younger, he's bigger, he's taller, he's faster. He's all around just a better wide receiver than Cooper Kupp. So thinking about what Justin Jefferson can do in that Cooper Kupp role, he could literally break records this year, and he is my overall wide receiver 1.
Yes, and some trending news, the Texans just cut Marlon Mack, and that opens up to make Damien Pierce their #1 workhorse running back. What is your prediction on him this year?
So I really like Damien Pierce, the talent, but I'm afraid that what we're looking at with Damien Pierce is a guy who's going to see early down and goal line work on a subpar offense. You know, Marlon Mack got cut, and that is obviously paving the way for Damien Pierce to be the lead guy, but Rex Burkhead is still there, and Rex Burkhead profiles as a very good pass catcher. So when you're trying to project game scripts for the Houston Texans, this team probably isn't going to be winning a lot of games, which means that Damien Pierce is going to be phased out of a lot of games. And there's the opportunity and the chance that he kind of takes on a James Robinson type role where he doesn't come off the field. He's getting targets when they're playing from behind, and he's getting touchdowns and rushes when they're playing from ahead. But I don't think that's going to happen with Rex Burkhead there. So that scares me a little bit. Damien Pierce was a guy that I was more than happy to draft when he was going in the 10th, 11th, 12th round. But now with him shooting up into the 6th round, believe it or not, I saw him go in the 3rd round of a fantasy draft earlier today. I am completely out on Damien Pierce at cost.
Now, as far as rookies go, they tend to be sort of the diamonds in the rough when it comes to fantasy. But who are you eyeballing in that category?
Well, over the last few years, I have just avoided rookies completely in drafts. Typically, it would take rookies a couple of years to get up to speed. You'd always see the running back that would kind of pop out, but tight ends never did much in their rookie season. Wide receivers never did much in their rookie season. But over the last few years, the NCAA has started to resemble the NFL a lot more, running similar offenses. And because of that, we're seeing the learning curve really flatten for these guys. And we've seen Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson both put up record-breaking rookie seasons in back-to-back years. And now there's no Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase in this class, but there are a lot of really talented guys that can carve out roles immediately. And one guy that I like is Chris Olave. He is as pro-ready as they come, and he is in a position where he could be the wide receiver one. Now, Michael Thomas is there, but we haven't seen him play in almost 2 years. He's 29 years old now, and it has just been one injury after another for him. We got Jarvis Landry, who is great at what he does, but he's never really been able to solidify himself as the team's alpha wide receiver one. Chris Olave has all of the tools to do that immediately. Another guy that I really like is Treylon Burks, and Treylon Burks didn't test too well at the combine, but he crushed every single opponent that he played against in the SEC. This guy is just a beast, and he steps right into the A.J. Brown role where they're going to force feed him targets and hope to use his ability after the catch to put up some really efficient seasons. So Chris Olave and Treylon Burks are two guys that I have really close eyes on, and I've been drafting as much as I can in fantasy this year.
All right, Dave, I've got my own fantasy draft coming up this Sunday night. What advice do you have for me, and is there anyone that I should really key in on picking up?
Well, I'll give you two pieces of advice here, and one is going to be more strategic advice, and then I'll give you one player that I'm really heavily targeting. But my strategy advice is to just be water. You want to try to flow in the opposite direction of whatever your league mates are doing. So depending on where you're drafting, you should get kind of an idea. You know, if you got a top 5 pick, you're going and picking your favorite guy. But if you're picking at the back end of the first round, pay attention to what everybody else is doing and do the opposite, because that's how you accrue value. So if all of your league mates are drafting running back, when it gets to your pick, you might be able to get a guy like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp. And if everybody's drafting wide receivers early, then a guy like Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook could fall into your lap at the end of the first round. So it's really important to avoid positional runs. When everybody's drafting one position, they are draining the value from that position, and it's important to pivot to a different position. So as long as you can take advantage of avoiding these positional runs, you should be in a great spot. Now, the one player I want to talk about that I think is a great value at his current cost is Allen Lazard. And I've been beating the drum for this guy for years. He's never been much of a stat compiler. He's kind of that gritty guy that goes out there and blocks and, you know, does the dirty work that other receivers don't want to do. But now he's in a situation where he gets to be the wide receiver one for the Green Bay Packers. And I know he hasn't done anything up until this point in his career, but neither did Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, James Jones, Randall Cobb. None of these guys eclipsed 1,000 yards within their first 3 seasons with Aaron Rodgers. Now the stage is set for Allen Lazard to be the primary read on almost every single passing down in an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. It is so easy to imagine him walking into a role where he can see 120 targets and finish as a top 10 wide receiver. And right now you can get him in the 8th or 9th round. You can find me at footballguys.com. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Kluge, that's Kluge. And then all of my video content is at youtube.com/footballguys.